Yes, as I have stated in my direct.
But this conclusion was based on your review of Dakota's medical history and your interview, correct?
Yes.
And during your interview, Dakota performed well in exercises related to vocabulary, correct?
Like I have said before, he showed intelligence. He did well in intelligence, such as vocabulary.
And comprehension, correct?
Yes.
And short-term problem solving, correct?
Yes, he would choose answers that would maximize the short-term reward, so yes.
Dakota also performed consistent with a subject who is intelligent and has well-developed reasoning abilities, did he not?
Yes, he did, but he doesn't have long-term reasoning skills.
Dakota took the intelligence test for children, correct?
The Western intelligence test, yes.
And on this test, Dakota scored in the 90th percentile for his age range, correct?
For the intelligence, yes.
And during your interview, Dakota did not appear to be nervous, correct?
Sometimes I had to encourage him to answer to me, but yes, he was generally very cooperative during our interview.
And he did not appear to be nervous, correct?
Not really, no.
And several times, Dakota appeared to think carefully before speaking, did he not?
As I've said, sometimes I had to encourage him
And
to
I'm asking you if he spoke carefully or thought carefully before he spoke.
Well, most teams do.
And you often deal with cases where the evaluation centers on whether confessions were coerced or influenced, correct?
As I've stated in my direct, yes.
And in this case, you cannot state whether or not Dakota's confession was genuine or not, correct?
Well, you can't be 100% sure on anything.
But you cannot state whether his confession was genuine, correct?
As I've said, I can't be 100% sure on anything, such as with any case as this one, such as this one.
So that is a no to my question?
No, I cannot determine completely if his statement was genuine.
And you were not present on Saturday, September 22nd, when Detective Jones and O'Leary questioned Dakota, were you?
I never talked about that day to him.
But you were not present that day either to observe the line of questioning that was given to the defendant, correct?
No, but...
Thank you. No further questions at this time.
Would respond how a normal youth would respond, but not how Dakota would respond.
I'm going to overrule the objection. I don't think an ultimate opinion was originally given, so I'm interested in the answer.
Yes, sir.
May you repeat the question, please?
Dakota's long-term reasoning skills coupled with...
Dr. Martinez, during your interview with Dakota performed consistent with a subject who is intelligent and has well-developed reasoning abilities, correct?
He didn't have well-developed long-term reasoning skills.
But he was intelligent and he had reasoning abilities, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Response.
On cross-examination, it was brought up that he would be susceptible to police pressure, and during her interview, she concluded that he's intelligent and well-developed, so this can go as to the coercion that Dakota would have been susceptible to that day.
I'm going to overrule the objection because your answer was non-responsive to your question, so you may ask that again.
Dakota also performed consistent with a subject who is intelligent and has well-developed reasoning abilities, correct?
All but his long-term reasoning skills were the same as any other intelligent person of his age.
So he performed consistent with a subject who is intelligent, correct?
Yes, he was.
And he performed consistent with a subject who has well-developed reasoning abilities, correct?
All but his long-term reasoning skills.
Yes.
Is that yes to my question? That still showed, yes it is, but
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Computer and flashing lights and all that on the front.
However, it didn't have that big metal screen separating the suspects in the back from the detectives up front. Isn't that right?
That's correct. He turned around and shook me. He would have been able to do that if there was.
Thank you. And O'Leary was not wearing regular clothes, was he?
He had a revolver and he had his police jacket.
And that jacket was a windbreaker, wasn't it?
Still a department jacket.
However, you stated he was wearing regular clothes.
Yeah, but it's still
Thank you.
department.
And O'Leary did not even place you in handcuffs when you met with him. Isn't that right?
I wasn't under arrest yet.
Okay, thank you. and neither detective asked any question on
For 5 minutes, we'll let you get your thoughts together, gather those thoughts together, I should say, for closing arguments, and after 5 minutes, we'll be back and we'll conduct those then. Anything from the prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, court's in recess. Okay. Well, as you know, we cannot announce the winning team, so that will stay right there. What we plan on doing is we're going to give our comments, our 2 cents, if you will. We'll first talk about the opening statements, then we'll just take it by prosecution witness and each attorney, prosecution witness 2 and each attorney, so on and so forth. So we'll give you a little insight on what we thought. So first thing, the opening statements. Casey handled it for the prosecution. I'm just going to read the notes that I made here. What I was impressed with was that you made good eye contact while you were giving your opening statement, which is good. It's always nice to see somebody know the facts enough that they don't have to just read it verbatim from a piece of paper, so the eye contact is fantastic. And also I thought you were very comfortable while you were up there, so that makes me believe that you had a good mastery of facts. And it's nice to see somebody who's up there who's comfortable, makes it a lot easier to follow along. The defense attorney for opening statement, Katrina, you had a good story, so I liked the story you presented, so keep that up. You provided good structure, and I also like the fact that you commanded the courtroom by giving introductions. This is my co-counsel, this is this witness, this is that witness. I kind of like that. It was nice to see that. And then, yeah, you both know what's going on. You know the facts. So you can each get more comfortable. So settle in. You're doing a good job.
You said pretty much everything I would say. You guys are both better when you get off your piece of paper. So it's always more convincing when you're just telling us about it. You're not reading something. Your inflection is better when you get off your paper. So, and it's something that both of you did pretty good on, but you can both work on. So that would be what I would say. Great eye contact, and I thought that your argument was really well constructed. I can tell you spent some time on it.
Next, we'll go to the first witness. That would be Aaron. So Aaron, I like the badge. That's good character. Be all by the book and yes, no, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, good character.
My thoughts were pretty much the same. You got into character well, I felt, Aaron. And you did a good job very much limiting your responses on their cross-examination too. Yeah.
Correct. You had good question structure. You went from question to question. You didn't say or anything in between. And I like the fact that you took the wind out of any kind of defense sail that might go up when you addressed the grabbing allegation before they did. So it's always nice as the prosecution, if you've got a problem in your case, you be the first one to address it. You put it out there. Don't let them use it as a hammer. So I liked that. Aaron was cross-examined by Ben. Ben, I like.
I really don't. You hit on everything that I've got on my notes here. I wouldn't add anything to that.
The prosecution witness number 2, Quinn, was Madison. Madison, you were very comfortable. You were very believable. Very good witness. So keep up what you're doing. The direct attorney was Madison. Madison, you were comfortable. You had good open-ended questions. Jenny White, and then the direct attorney was Katrina. The cross-examining attorney was Casey. Jenny White, convincing. You know the facts. You know them. There were times that I thought you were trying to stick to a script, just let it flow.
Okay.
Just let it flow. You don't have to say every word, and if you miss one particular thing, yeah, no big deal. But you know your stuff, because you were all the way down the line. So a little more comfortable up there on the witness stand, boom, you're a 10, okay? In terms of the direct attorney, Katrina, you are much more comfortable on direct than what you were on cross, and that's just because comfort level, wherever that is for you. You can do that when you cross the prosecution witnesses, because you obviously can do it with your own witness. So keep that in mind. And then Casey, on your cross of the good doctor, you had good control. You actually stepped in and cut her off a lot of times. Good. Very good pointed questions. You would say, isn't that correct? Did he not? Those are the way to end your questions when you're crossing someone. And when you got the doctor to say, hey, I can't be 100% sure on my opinion, boom, you just obliterated all of her testimony. At that point, if you can get a witness at the next trial or the next level to say that, the doctor to say that, just kind of let it all soak in for everybody and then sit down. Save that as your last question. So, good job.
Casey not letting her avoid the question, but I also agree with Matt, you know, let it sink in and then be done. Once you get there, you really don't need anything else. I think that's pretty much else. My other thing that I would add on that.
When you get into character, you know, at the next trial or the next level, but having a little bit of witness combat there is good because you're the guy who's under the microscope right now. So a little bit of emotion is good. Just watch the line like you did today. You'll be perfectly fine. Ben, I liked your courtroom demand because you asked your witness to speak up, project your voice. Those are the things that we say when we're in trial. So that was like I was actually in a courtroom when I heard that. The one thing that I will say is when Dakota says that he lost his mom in a fire, don't say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We all know you know that already. So it's not new. So yeah, just don't say that. And then you had a very good ending question when you would give your direct and your redirect. So you went on a high note. So your last question should always leave everybody saying, oh, okay, yeah, that was a good one for him. So staying, I might overrule another one at the next trial. The next judge could do the exact opposite of everything. And when it comes to objections on both sides, nobody over-objected. Good, because there is a fine line to that too. You had very good pointed questions on your direct of Dakota. And what I liked too was when you got a non-responsive answer, which was basically yes, but blah, 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 you would just say, thank you, because you got the yes that you wanted. And that's a good way to do it. You can also, ask the judge to strike the answer as non-responsive and have the witness answer the question. And I liked your kind of off-the-cuff bad Dakota thing, where you're like, well, the judge isn't bad Dakota, the bailiff isn't bad Dakota, you're bad Dakota. And that was a big hammer, and then sit down, so that was good.
Yeah, similar things that I noted. You guys had a fair number of objections throughout the morning, and a fair number of them I would say were overruled. Don't stop objecting. You had a good foundation for all of your objections. You know, like Matt said, they could have gone either way. You're going to have judges that go either way on them, so it's good to just let that roll off your back. If you've got a basis, object. And if it's a situation where, you know, your objection is sustained and then they keep on that path, you know, stand up again and say, hey, you're still doing that, you know, what's going on here? So don't be afraid to back off that. Let's see, Colin. I agree completely with Matt. I thought you were right on that line of being combative but not being too combative, not letting them have too much wiggle room. And you came close to the line of being unlikable at times because you were so combative. I don't think you got there. I thought you did a good job.
Well, I guess I'll just keep them. The outstanding attorney was a very close call, but we ended up both agreeing, though, that Casey. And then for the outstanding witness, again, we both agreed, and wait a second here, I'm confused by names. The outstanding witness was Madison.
Something different.
Great.
Yeah.
What is your full name, Madison? Or is it just
No,
Maddie?
Madeline.
Oh, Madeline. Oh, Madeline.
She's Madison.
It's you. All right. I embarrass people all the time. It's what I do best, mostly myself. All right, with that, court is adjourned.
Your Honors, if I may, on behalf of all the parents, it's so nice to see so many parents here today. On behalf of the parents and students, I want to publicly, on behalf of everybody that's here, thank you.